In episode number 242, we cover May's Netflix highlights, a big one at the very end of May too, one of my favorite shows of all time.
We also have an update on digital book sales. Are they going up? Are they going down? You'll find out later.
Our comic book highlight this week is Batman Shadow #1, the miniseries that teams up DC Comics with Dynamite.
And the moment you have all been waiting for, the 2017 Breisner Awards.
All of this and more on today's show. Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke every single week, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
The way we normally format the show is first we cover some news, we head on over to our Patreon shoutouts of the week, and then we cover a comic book highlight. So we're going to do the Breisner Awards before the comic book highlight, and that will essentially wrap up the podcast for today. I do want to notice that this is the second episode in a row for Kelli. Still pregnant.
So, yes, I would hope so.
They need their weekly update for the little human.
Okay. So, still pregnant. I'm at week 16, which is a month shy of halfway there. So, for those of you who don't know, weeks, 3.5 months is where I am.
Yeah, I have people asking me, how far along is she? And I'm like, 2-ish months? I don't know. Like, I don't keep track of the weeks.
3.5.
Like, when Dustin Wynn asked me, I just went, 2 months.
That wasn't right. But that's okay. So, yes, 3.5 months. Found out what it is today. It's growing big. It's the size of a pickle, which is cool, I guess.
No longer an avocado.
No longer an avocado. Still a lot of food aversions. I eat mostly cereal and bagels with cream cheese.
I'm sure that's healthy. I'm sure that's healthy.
My doctor even today, she's like, you need to eat some vegetables. I'm like, I don't want to eat vegetables.
That's what I've been telling you to do.
I know, but you know better now. Just leave me alone and let me eat what stays down.
Yeah, and the bigger update is that we now know what gender it is. Mm-hmm. We are assuming it's gender.
Yes.
We know what it is.
Yeah. We do. Got to find that out today. That was exciting.
Yeah, it was very exciting, and we may or may not be happy with the results. It's a healthy baby. How about that?
It's a human baby. It's not a raptor.
Correct.
It could still be a Super Saiyan. We don't know.
It does have 2 arms and 2 legs.
It has a spine.
Does have a spine, so all of its little bones, all its big head.
Yeah. It yawned.
It did yawn. It looked like a little dinosaur baby.
So it could have been a raptor.
It could still be a raptor. Who knows?
It's not. It's either a human or a Super Saiyan. Those are our only 2 options.
Yep, and if you're curious about whether it's a little boy or a little girl, I suppose you will have to find out when it's born.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I only got one tweet wanting to know. It's so I know that's not the majority of listeners.
Well, I got one too. So we got 2 tweets.
Okay, so that's still not a majority of listeners that want to know. So yeah, we'll just continue with the update and keep referring to it as it. Or we will come up with gender-neutral names to call it so that we don't reveal what it is.
We'll just call it the Little Briefs baby. Could be a boy, could be a girl. You don't know.
Aside from that, I am getting ready for Free Comic Book Day. Mm-hmm. By the time this episode releases for the non-Patreon backers, it will have already come and gone. But I will give you an update on how Free Comic Book Day went next week. If you are getting this episode early through Patreon, don't forget to head on over to your local comic book shop, get some free comics, and pick up a little something extra along the way. The comics are not free for the publishers or for the comic book shops, but it is there to draw in people so that they, 1, locate their local comic book shop, and 2, support that local comic book shop while getting brand new books that maybe you might get into and jump on with.
Didn't they have the Labyrinth one year? What was that, 5 years ago? The last time I was able to go to a Free Comic Book Day.
It was probably the same year that they retained or gained the rights to publish a Labyrinth book. So they were like, yeah, here, look, everything Labyrinth while we still can. So I'm sure there was a Labyrinth book. There's a Legend of Zelda preview for the manga that just came out for Twilight Princess. There's the first issue for Wonder Woman from DC Rebirth, so that's to celebrate the movie that's coming up. And then Marvel has a Secret Empire issue that is the lead-in to the Secret Empire event. So if you're not quite sold on it, you can pick up the Free Comic Book Day issue, and then at that point, number 0 as well along the way if you do want to get into that event.
Awesome. There's always good things at Free Comic Book Day. Even if you aren't currently picking up a bunch of books or picking up any books, take your kids, take your family, go check out Free Comic Book Day. Like I said, there is something for everybody there.
Do you have any Free Comic Book Day memories that you are particularly fond of?
I think I've only been to 2 Free Comic Book Days. One was when I found the Labyrinth book, and I was like, oh shit, the Labyrinth. I totally forgot about this. And then we watched it afterwards, because you didn't know what it was at that point either. So I was like, we have to watch this. And then we fell in love with David Bowie. The first one, I walked in, I'm like, free? What is?
Yeah, that's always the common question I get is, so I can pick out any book for free? Well, no, there's going to be tables set up, and the free books are going to... There's always a catch. There's always a catch. You're right, there's a catch to free comic books.
Yes,
there's free books you're getting, and there's still somehow a catch, something you're being screwed out of.
Because I'm not giving you a $20 book for free. That would just be stupid of us.
They should do the $1,000 books for free, then I'd be here.
Okay, you're not the market we're going for, sir, but thank you.
Every year, it's never short of some kind of special comment that I remember and repeat to friends, family, and to all the friends on the podcast, and that was the one for this year.
It's like in food service when you swipe their card and it doesn't go through. Oh, I guess it's free. No, it's not free.
It's like in all service. Every single service that it's not funny. If you've made that joke, don't make it again.
It's not funny.
It's not funny. It's not free. It's not... And anytime I worked at an attraction as well, and how many children, how many adults? 2 and 2. Well, my husband, a child, so I guess 3. So, no, I really need to know. And again, that's not funny. It's not, I've heard it 1,700 times.
Or when you're finding tables for somebody, I ask the same question. How many in your party? Well, 2 adults and 2 children and a baby. So there's 5 of you.
Correct. Yeah, that's the thing. But I guess they want to give you the information in case you have like a high chair. I'm not too sure where that would go.
I don't know.
When I worked at an attraction, they wouldn't consider the baby a person. So I'd be like, how many people are with you? And they'd say 4. And then they'd come up with a baby as well. And I said, whoa, there's 5 of you. Well, yeah, there's 4 of us and a baby. And I'm like, right, I asked how many people. Like, the baby's still a person.
Well, it's the same with tables. It's like, your baby is still taking up a space. I still need to know how much space you need.
Yeah, and they'd be like, well, I can just hold the baby. No, that's dangerous. You're in an attraction. You can't just hold another person with you. If I ever do something that stupid, you let me know with our kid. If I ever say anything that ridiculous,
okay. If you ever
call me out immediately.
Dad jokes.
Is that what they are? Is that a dad joke?
I don't. It's a white people joke.
Well, I guess I'm going to avoid those then.
Speaking of babies not being people on attractions, so I heard a story once. Somebody went to ride a roller coaster, and people heard crying coming from inside the little thing. They had stuffed a baby in a duffel bag and put it in the bag holder so that they could ride the roller coaster.
That's insane.
Right? It's crazy.
Fuck, man. Okay, not everyone should have a baby, I guess. I mean, that's got to be obvious. There's awful parents, just like there's awful people.
But I was like, holy shit, why would you stuff a baby in a duffel just so you could ride the roller coaster?
It's that important,
That's
Kelly.
That's ridiculous.
Although maybe when we have it and we're in the middle of it, we're like, we'll just fucking stuff the baby anywhere.
Let's not do that.
We don't know. We haven't had a baby yet. It's legit. That could be a thing.
Would you ever do that with your dog?
I would say no, but I couldn't say unless I had one otherwise. Before I had a dog, you would ask me, I could only say maybe. I could only say maybe. I can't say for sure. I'm that logical.
If you think you're the type of person where you would stuff our child in a duffel bag, we need to have some serious
Well, you don't know what kind of person you are until you have the child. You can say no, but who knows? I'm sure anyone that murdered someone, you could ask them, do you think you're a murderer? You think any of them, you think half of them would say yes? Not even half of them would say yes.
I'm sure some of them would say
yes. Not
even
half would say yes. Before they committed murder? Absolutely not. You ask O.J. Simpson. Ask OJ.
Talking about murderers and babies. Did you hear about the couple? They killed their baby. Like, they shook her and she died. Right? A few weeks old.
This took a dark turn already.
Listen, I'm sorry.
Podcast.
We're talking about terrible parents. It was in like the UK or something, right? So they were drug addicts. Shook the baby and she died. 2 days later, the mom gets on the bus with the baby and pretends the baby just magically died on the bus. So there's people trying to give the little baby CPR and revive her and all this shit. And she's like, oh, don't know what happened.
I guess that's it. Like, so she was trying to just find
pass
a way
it
to
off
get out
like
of it.
that. Yeah.
And I'm sure that's happened before where they actually do get away with it. That's crazy.
But anyway, they caught both of them, and now they're both in jail.
Yeah,
for murder
good.
and stuff.
Good thing they got caught. Not everyone gets caught, but good thing. So now it's a good story. I just think
it's crazy. Like being a mom now, I'm reading all these articles because I clicked on one, and now Facebook brings them all to me about death and doom and poor babies, and I'm like, how can anybody do this to their child? Like, you're so overprotective. If the dog gets near my stomach, you're like, don't step on her.
Yeah.
Don't step. You're gonna hurt the baby. And I'm like, the baby's fine. It's a little 10-pound dog. What's she gonna do?
And I'm like, that's 10 pounds greater than that little baby. Like, that baby weighs what? Maybe not even a pound yet.
It's not even a pound. It's like half an ounce or something.
So yeah, I will protect this little half an ounce thing from this 10-pound dog. Absolutely. No problems there.
And you're worried about stuffing your child in a duffel bag. Okay.
So before we jump into the news for the week, we had quite a number of responses on our hashtag games. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and cue up the theme song.
So our first one is hashtag millennial detentions.
My entry to this one was read a comic book, no lit screens allowed, paper and ink.
That's not really a detention. We do that all the time.
Yeah, but to anyone that's used to the regular
reading them on their iPad?
Yeah, but to anyone that's used to reading them on their iPad or their tablet device, I mean, that is a detention.
I guess.
I'm just trying to promote shopping local, Kelli. I'm trying to do a good thing, and you're trying to point out, like, the bad things to it.
Oh, man, that's horrible, Dan. You're right.
No.
We should all...
Let's hear your millennial detentions, Kelli.
Okay,
what's your millennial detention?
You want to know my millennial detention? Okay.
Since my responses are terrible.
You have to be in your home, right? Call somebody on the phone and make plans, and don't call them or text them on the way there. And you have to meet them at the place.
You have a different response than I do. That's all that is.
No, mine is really hard. Because I was thinking the other day, because I was meeting up I was going out to dinner with my friend or something, and she was late. And I was like, how did people do this beforehand?
Okay, fine. If you want to go with your analogy, rewind the movie before you watch it. Takes 5 minutes.
Yeah, that happened.
No skipping allowed. No DVDs allowed. No Blu-rays allowed. Cassette just cassette.
I miss my VHSs where you had to close your eyes so it wouldn't spoil the movie for you.
Yeah. Is that a millennial? Is that a better response for you?
Yeah, that's
Does that fit the emperor better?
Fine. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad I made you happy and I fixed this. We have a response here from Matt at the Super Side Up podcast.
It didn't sound like you were real happy.
I'm not. Matt, I had a good response. Matt said, watch a TV show, added schedule time, no binging, no skipping commercials.
I would never see TV. Never. I would never watch TV.
We watched TV. We did it just fine when we were kids.
Yeah, but now that I can just record it and see it later, or pull it up, or put in my DVD that I'm not allowed to watch now.
I think now it would be like when we visit my parents' house, when there's nothing recorded.
Mm-hmm.
I just go to guide, and I go to a channel, and I watch whatever's on there. Although back then, there were no guides. There was a TV guide.
There was that one channel where you had to, watch the
even
the
before
50
then,
channes.
Even before then, there was no that. You had to buy a TV guide.
Poor TV guide. That thing went out of business.
It's not around anymore.
Who uses the TV guide?
People over 50. Someone over 50 that doesn't know how to use the guide, they still want to buy the TV. Or people that collect them. People collect TV guides.
Really?
Yeah, when it had the special edition Simpsons ones, when it hit a milestone of X amount of seasons or years. There were some for previews of upcoming television shows, so you can own the first appearance of a TV show.
You know what really sucked? When you were flipping through the TV guide, but it was last week's TV guide?
Yeah, I remember that. I actually used to, when I was a kid, I used to take the TV guide, and I used to highlight the shows ahead of time.
Uh-huh.
So then I'd go to the day, and I would already know what I'm going to watch. And most of the time, I did it for so long that I already knew what I was going to watch and everything, but it just became a ritual where I had to go in there, take a yellow highlighter, and highlight that newspaper print, Rugrats or Doug or Batman the Animated Series.
You know what else sucked too? There's only one TV in the house.
I remember that, yeah. We talked about that 4 episodes ago. One television in the entire house. And the one time that the TV guide failed me was when I would highlight a movie that I really wanted to watch, and then I would go to the channel and we didn't have access to that channel because of that was always the worst.
All 14 channels that there used to be.
All right, next hashtag game. Maybe you'll approve of this one. Hashtag eat a film. So mine was pan-fried labyrinth.
All right, I approve of that one.
Dougie Jones actually favorited it on Twitter.
Good job, Dougie Jones. Ugh, love that man. We also have one from Matt from Super Side Up who said, baby back ribs to the future.
I joked with him on Facebook and I said, it's over 8,800 calories per hour. I forgot what I said. I forgot what I actually, but let me pull it up right now just because his response was way funnier than what I just fucking said. Do you have a response to hashtag eat a film?
The only one I could think of were pierogies of the Caribbean.
What's a pierogi?
A pierogi is a Polish dish.
Okay.
Polish. And it's like a dumpling filled with potatoes, and then you usually put a meat something on top, or you put sour cream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said on this original one, over 8,800 calories per hour, and he responded with, in the morning, you're going to see some serious shit. That's why I like these things, because you can then quote movies and have them fit that particular hashtag game. It's a lot of fun. It's good. It's a good time, Kelly. You should respond to those on Twitter, too. You
should tag me in them so I could respond to them on Twitter. I've been following my Twitter all week. Have you not seen me?
You've done a better job, yeah.
I posted something.
Brokeheads have been sending you things, too, so that gets you back on Twitter.
Yes.
Final hashtag game is hashtag silly bedtime rituals. My response was checking over podcast show notes one last time. I always have to, right before I go to sleep, have to see if I missed a story, if there's something else I can throw in there. Because otherwise, if I don't, weeks like today, there'd be no news. And the fact that we have any news on this slow news week is because I check late at night because of this ritual.
We have another one from Matt from Super Side Up who says, pulling something up to watch on Netflix and passing out 5 minutes in.
That's my same ritual, except switch Netflix with YouTube.
Yes, but you don't pass out 5 minutes in. You watch for like 7 hours.
And then I go to sleep. Normally I give up. If I watch that long, I just stop watching YouTube and I just roll over and hope that I go to sleep. And usually I do.
What is my ritual?
Fan fiction before bed?
Yes!
That was my guess, because 70% of the day you're on fanfiction.net, so.
So I'm not on fanfiction.net. I either use their app, or I found a new site called Archive of Our Own, which is just even more fan fiction. What is our dog's bedtime ritual? She's come up with a new one this week.
Yeah, so late at night, when you're going off to bed, I play Mass Effect. Mm-hmm. That's the only time I can play Andromeda. So I'll go on there and I'm up till like 2, 3, 4 in the morning playing Andromeda. And the dog has found this new thing where it sits right by the bedroom door and watches me in the living room like an angry parent after I've come home late from, movie night or whatever, later than curfew. And she will sit there and stare at me until I come into the bedroom and we can go to sleep. And then she gets up on the bed real cranky and lays on me and goes to sleep. So yeah, that is her little ritual of, Daddy man, what's going on? Why the fuck are you up playing video games at 3 in the goddamn morning? Like you said, like a 15-year-old, like a teenager. Get to bed. I'm sleepy. Mom's already asleep. It's late. It's 4 o'clock in the goddamn morning. You have work in 7 hours.
She does do that. She can't sleep unless we're both there. Or she'll sleep with me for a little bit, but then if you're not there, no way, forget about it.
So I think that was the most hashtag games we've ever done in a week. We also had a question of the week. We haven't gotten one of those in a little while. We always welcome them. If you have a question you want to ask us that we can answer on the air, definitely send it our way on Twitter or through TheReasonsImBroke.com. Just click on the contact link and you will get even more space in case you have a longer question or you want to submit a full letter. But the question comes from Twitter user @Curbside1986, who said,
listening to @ReasonsImBroke podcast this morning. Now I can't help but wonder what movie remake could be great.
His responses were The Goonies and Short Circuit.
I'm not going to lie, I've never seen either of those.
Short Circuit is, as far as the design, like the original WALL-E design. When everyone called WALL-E Johnny Five, that's where it came from. And it was, I watched that and the sequel so many times when I was a kid. Goonies I didn't see until junior high school and I didn't care for it. But Short Circuit was definitely one of my favorites as a child, one that I constantly rented from the video store. And I think the main character, I don't know if it was the first or the second one, but it was actually supposed to be an Indian character, but it was played by a white guy.
Aww.
So they like darkened them up, and then he had the thick Indian accent. So now that you look back at it, you're like, ooh, what was this?
We can't do that, guys.
I don't think they should remake that part of it. So those were, I think for me, a movie remake wouldn't be something that I consider like a good movie. I wouldn't want to see like a Rocky remake or an Alien remake. For me, it would have to be something that they tried to do and it didn't do as well or wasn't executed too well. So my answer, and it's already in the works, and I don't know if it's considered a remake, but would be another attempt at a live-action Spawn movie.
I never saw the other Spawn movie either.
You weren't missing too much aside from the special effects. They actually did do a real-life costume for Spawn, but then the cape was completely CGI to get it to that massive size that it is in the comic books. So kind of like Batman, actually, for Suicide Squad when he's riding on the Batmobile, and a lot of the shots in Batman v Superman, his cape had to be CGI so that it moved the way that they needed it to. And you can tell right away. So that's one fault that I think the movies could have done a better job in. In BVS, when he busts out the Batmobile and he's trying to take the kryptonite from Lex, do you remember that part? And he puts the tracking device on the trucks. When he's at the very top of that, you can tell immediately that it's like this super CG cape. And I was like, fuck, man, just darken the picture a little bit or something so that we can't tell. Maybe no one else cared. But aside from that, did you have a movie remake that you'd want to see?
You know, I do now. Now that you mention it, we're talking about shitty movies. And I didn't even see this movie. I just heard it was shit and I stopped. Dragon Ball Evolution? Is that what it was called?
Dragon Ball Evolution, yes.
So let's make a decent Dragon Ball Z movie, please.
Live action as well?
Yeah,
I mean,
why
it can't
not?
be worse than Evolution, right?
No.
I'm surprised they didn't go for Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, that would be a good one, too. Yes, let's make a decent Avatar movie, too.
When I do mention to some people that there's going to be an Avatar comic book for Free Comic Book Day, I always open with, there's going to be a James Cameron Avatar, and every single time someone says, wait, which Avatar? And again, I go, James Cameron's Avatar.
Aww.
And they go, oh.
Didn't both those two movies come out kind of around the same time?
Within, I think, a year or two of each other, yeah.
I felt like they were close because somebody was talking to me one day and they're like, did you hear they're bringing Avatar back in theaters? And I'm like, The Last Airbender?
You fell for it too.
No.
The one that made a lot of money, actually.
All right.
The one that Disney is making a whole theme park portion of it.
And they will make a lot of money.
The more popular of the two, James Cameron's Avatar. Is that fair to say?
Listen, that's fine. But I would rather have Avatar: The Last Airbender.
These are facts that I love mentioning to Avatar fans. I'm a fan too, but just because they get mad because they're like, no, that's not what I want to be more popular. I want The Last Airbender to be more popular. It's like, look, if you wanted that, Korra wouldn't have been on the decline from book 3 to book 4 and so on. It's kind of a series that's done. If it's still going in the comic book world, and I know Mr. Riggs just picked up the latest North and South comic book, so he's really happy with it, but I should send him one of the Avatar comics and say, I heard you like Avatar, send it to him, so he could be like, that's not the right Avatar.
He'll know what you're doing, please.
He'd know I'm trolling him. I'd have to send him something nice with it.
You know what I also want to see live action, I think they're actually working on this now anyway, is Mulan.
Disney is eventually going to do live action of all of those Disney princess movies. Even Frozen, I'm sure, will eventually get a live action big screen adaptation. So, yeah, I guess we're getting Mulan. We'll see how it is. Beauty and the Beast was, what did we say, middle of the road?
Yeah.
Although we did like a lot of the portions to it. Some of the changes were fine. We accepted them for what they are, but still the originals it'll be hard to top those. And I think that's why remaking popular original movies is going to be really difficult to do because people are always going to be comparing the remake to the original. And unfortunately, because of that, the remakes usually don't have as good of a chance as if they were to just come out with that without the existence of the original movie.
But don't you want to see live action Shang be like, oh, it's a woman. I guess I'm not gay.
Part of me does. Yeah, that's the whole message of that, right? Because he was kind of attracted to Ping, and then it turns out it's a girl, and it wasn't relief for him, you know? He was just kind of like, oh.
Leave her in the snow.
I'm just more confused now.
A life for a life. My debt is repaid.
My favorite line was, how many messengers do you need to deliver a letter?
Just one.
Yes, that needs to happen in the movie live action. If
Of course
that's
it
in
will.
there, great.
That's one of the most
good.
iconic lines.
Do they have to sing? Is this going to be a musical?
I hope so.
You want a musical
There
out of this?
needs to be music in this. Just like, go, go, Power Rangers. They should have sang that song.
They did briefly. Yeah, there was like a 3-second moment where they had
but
it.
nobody sang it.
Nobody sang it on the show either. It wasn't like Zordon. Actually, he said go Power Rangers, but didn't sing the song.
He should have. Go, go, Power Rangers. He didn't do it. But it would definitely have to be a musical, just like Beauty and the Beast was. They pulled it off.
They might do it. We'll find out very soon. So on to our news for the week. Matt had already talked about Netflix and how he passes out 5 minutes into watching Netflix. Well, you've got more stuff coming your way this month. May 2017's Netflix highlights.
These are just a few that we've picked out that we really enjoy. You can check out the full list online. Just search Netflix May 2017. First up is an all-time favorite, Forrest Gump.
Another one that I saw as a kid. I sat through all 3+ hours of that movie.
Oy.
And I really enjoyed it. Fucking Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah.
When he's yelling at the storm, like, he's yelling at God, right? In his mind. And he's like, come get me, you son of a bitch! Is that all you got? And Forrest is like, I was scared. But Lieutenant Dan, he was mad. And you see him, like, just yelling at the storm, hanging on from the very top of the fucking, what do you call that? The mast or whatever the goddamn thing, the crow's nest. And that was incredible. The scene with, she's coming up in Wonder Woman. It's Claire from House of Cards. And one thing that people pointed out later in life, that she got AIDS and then she had sex with Forrest. So then wouldn't he and the child have AIDS too?
I mean, technically, yeah.
But you don't think about that in the movie. You're just like, oh, she's sick from something. Especially when you're a child watching this. Oh, I don't know. She just got cancer. I don't know. Some adult disease that I hopefully don't have to worry about. Yeah, did you like Forrest Gump as a child too?
I did. I don't think I saw it quite as a child. I saw it later, in between kid and like older teenager. And I did. I really enjoyed it. I too had the same thing where I'm like, what did she get sick from? Oh, she's just dead. Whatever.
Also on the list, we've got Sherlock Series 4. I watched the first 2 seasons with Alex, who's been on the show before, and yeah, it's fine. I think if I have to be watching it with someone, I could never just sit and watch Sherlock.
We also have Riverdale Season 1. I have to say I was really excited for this show because I love the Archie comic, and then they started having radio advertisements for what was happening that week, and it's like, who's the murderer in Riverdale?
You're like, what the fuck? Is this Archie?
Yeah, like, what the fuck did this show become? And then you hear voices and they're like, I bet it was Betty. And I'm like, holy shit, what's wrong with Betty? No, my dad paid to have them killed. So now I'm not so sure how I feel about it.
It is bringing a lot of teenagers, though, into the shops where they'll come in and they'll ask, not for Archie books, for Riverdale comics. And I'm like, yep, Archie books are right here. And they'll buy the older, lighter Archie comics. So we are not the demographic for this TV show. And even when you look at the cast, it is younger, teen, heartthrob-ish characters. So I do know some of the older Archie fans, some do enjoy it. And they do like the different interpretation to the series. But they are definitely aiming at a younger readership, at a younger generation, so that the brand continues 20, 30, 40 years from now.
So what you're saying is I'm old.
I'm saying we're old. We'll watch it. We'll give it a shot on Netflix. Of course. Another Tarantino film is joining Netflix along with Pulp Fiction, and this one is Inglourious Bastards. Saw that in theaters. A ton of fun. Yes, a movie about Nazis. This movie was fun because it's Tarantino. Great.
I really, really enjoyed this movie. Haven't seen it in years. We'll have to check that one out, too. We also have another film that we enjoyed, Southpaw.
You especially liked it.
Oh, I cried.
Story about redemption, building yourself up, training. I mean, it all goes with the whole boxing analogy. We also have House of Cards Season 5. Fuck yes. Frank Underwood and Claire. Frank's back to give me some more bad ideas on things that I want to do, like ride around drunk in a library cart with my friends and run for president. And for whenever I get drunk for the next 3 months after I watch this latest season, I'm going to start acting like Frank Underwood.
Yes, he does.
It's so
every time
engrossing. His performance is amazing, and he is the best. He's a shitty person. He's a shitty character, but you're following him and you're rooting for him. And I'm constantly like, why are they opposing him? Just let Frank do what he wants. Jesus Christ. Fully knowing that if they just let him do what he wants, the show would be very boring. At the end of the day, he gets his way, but he has to struggle. He has to fucking blackmail people. He has to murder people sometimes. It gets wacky. He has to fight with his wife, and then they have to get back together. So then you as a viewer, you're like, yes, they're so perfect together. They need to stop fighting. You're like a little kid with your parents fighting with Claire and Frank. It's incredible. And it's sort of political, but it's more like a drama, politics, Doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. This is all about these characters trying to just one-up one another, working with foreign presidents, working with... I don't think they straight up call him Putin. They call him just like the Russian guy, right?
He does have a name, but I don't remember what
it's not. It's definitely not Putin. There's no real-life characters or people in the show from what I remember. And then on top of that, it's Frank dealing with other friends and how they don't like him anymore because now he's powerful and he fucked over these other people. And then it's so fucking good. Season 5, House of Cards. You fucking started Season 1 if you haven't watched this shit. Watch all of House of Cards. I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch... Tonight, I'm going to start watching like the last 5 episodes of the last season.
Boy.
So I remember exactly where it left off, because this show does not play... It starts over right as if they continued filming from the last episode. So, your thoughts on the show?
It's a good show, but it's too much for me. It's too much drama. It fills me with such angst, and with these hormones right now, I just can't.
It's very heavy. It's very dark. So just as a heads up, you may, if you're a little bit more sensitive, you may only handle 1 episode a day or a week, but it is very well worth it.
Or an hour, or...
Yeah, if you're like me, every hour, fucking another episode. Doctor Strange, as part of the Disney exclusivity deal, is the latest Marvel film to join Netflix. The last one, I believe was Civil War. So there, we can finally watch Doctor Strange. We didn't have to pay to watch it in theaters. Mm-hmm. It's not something we wanted to. And I guess we'll give it a shot. You know, we'll watch it. We've never read a Doctor Strange comic book, and that's the reason we didn't want to watch the movie. So now that it's on Netflix, if we have time, maybe we'll watch it.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday. We saw the Judas Contract.
We did. I cried in that too.
I can't believe you cried there in that movie. It's definitely the pregnancy stuff.
What part of my Facebook post that said I can't get through a dog rescue video without crying was not understood?
The Judas Contract is good. You know, it's a solid story. It's not exactly like the original story by Marv Wolfman and George Perez, but it does not pull any punches as far as the Terra and Deathstroke relationship. It puts it right out there for you. Now, it doesn't go all the way like the comic book did, in which they're like, they actually slept together. Deathstroke with this 15-year-old. But the movie still goes like, there's a relationship here, and it's not necessarily one that Deathstroke has gone ahead and crossed the line in, but he is definitely leading Terra along and saying, once we get rid of all of these people and get our money, finish the contract, then we can be together. I'm like, oh, this is kind of creepy, but it's just like the book.
I'm uncomfortable. Stranger danger.
My sister was way more uncomfortable. You were kind of uncomfortable, too,
watching
that.
A little bit. I was just like, you got too much blush on your cheeks. Just wipe that off.
Well, that's the thing. She was trying to attract him so badly because, you know, she's a young girl. Mm-hmm. She doesn't quite know yet, and it's probably her first real attraction because he's the one that saved her when she was just a little girl, and so he's grown up with her and kind of... I mean, I guess it's sort of like a fatherly figure, except as she got older, she might have fallen for him. I don't know. The movie gets weird, all right? Judas Contract is weird, just like the comic book, but it's full of action. It's got a lot of Teen Titans nods and references that you'd enjoy, and it continues the same continuity that we had in the past with the other Teen Titans film.
And the best part of the movie?
Nightwing Starfire?
Eee! They were adorable.
You got all your Nightwing Starfire fixes from that. I hope you're good for a while.
I didn't get all of them. I have to go find some fan fiction now. But I got a lot of my fixes. It made me very happy.
So those were most of our Netflix highlights for the month. Mm-hmm. Again, full list on Google. Netflix highlights May 2017. Continuing on with a trend that seems to be declining.
So we talked in the beginning about digital book sales. And yes, exactly like you said, they are actually declining in what analysis are calling screen fatigue.
In the UK, consumer sales are down to 2011 levels, while print books are at a 5-year high.
This also reflects comic book sales, as 2017 and the latter half of 2016 show an upward and steady trend for physical issues.
Even back when digital was coming about and people were saying it's a doom and gloom, end of comic book shops, you're not going to see any books anywhere after the Kindle came out, after Marvel and DC had decided to do their own digital market, after Comixology even came out and started doing all of their sales and pushed forward with Amazon. Even then, since all that happened, it's been on a downward trend where it hasn't actually affected physical books. but in many cases it has actually helped physical book sales where people are reading the previews online and then going into their local comic shop and picking up other issues or the trade paperback or the physical books. And so it has helped, it helps everyone, I think. If you have a local shop that closed and you don't have anything near you, you have Comixology that's there for you. If space is an issue in your house, if you don't like to sell the books that you have and constantly recycle out or cycle out your books to make room for more like we do, then yeah, you can go digital. But overall, it seems like what people are calling screen fatigue is affecting hobbies for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So in this case, people are looking at their phone or computers or tablets more often than ever because you have more and more of your information and bills on your devices, in your pocket. So when you're constantly all day staring at your phone, you don't want to then do your fun things on another screen. So that's where these analysts are saying, and that's what they're calling screen fatigue.
Well, that's exactly it, too. And a lot of businesses and jobs nowadays, you're sitting in front of a computer screen all day. I remember the 2 brief times when I worked in an office, I was in front of a computer screen, and it was emails and phone calls and looking stuff up and, sorting files. And after you looked at that all day, and now you got to go home, and a lot of people watch TV with dinner. Okay, you're done with TV. Now are you going to sit down and look at another screen? And then what do you fall asleep to? That's 20 hours of TV. I hope you're not only sleeping 4 hours, but that's at least 16 hours in front of a screen a day. And yeah, that could definitely get exhausting. The
other thing too is you see a lot of teenagers and kids with their parents, and they'll buy things, but teenagers are coming into comic shops and they're buying, they'll read on Twitter, the latest Batman issue has the Watchmen in it. I want to read that Batman number 21. And as opposed to going to Comixology, they'll come into the shops, they'll buy the comic, and they'll leave. So it's even the growing generations, the up and coming, are still buying the physical books as opposed to just reading it online.
Do they pay cash for those comics?
Most of the time they have a credit card. Some have cash, but
I was going to say maybe they're too young to have a debit card, and then so they can't buy it online.
That could be one of the things, but I don't know. I feel like that wouldn't really. When I was younger, I'd kind of work for it, and you'd get credit for. I don't know how I do it now, honestly, and maybe that is the thing. But a lot of them have, to be fair, it's sometimes a gift card that's digital that they got for their birthday, which they could also plug into these apps, but they don't. They instead go to the local comic shop.
Well,
and pick up the books.
That's so good.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing. They buy the trade paperbacks. They'll ask the associates, hey, which is the Batman book right now that I should be reading? If I want to get into Deadpool, what should I buy? And maybe that's one of the things that's contributing to more physical sales over digital sales. The other thing I've heard a lot of them say is that they like owning something as opposed to just having it be like a up in the cloud thing. So it's a number of factors that there's a lot of advantages to buying physical as opposed to digital. But yeah, the trend seems to be on the complete opposite whereas, normally Amazon is trying to push that digital stuff on you. Consumers are saying, well, we still enjoy books and comic books, because this study was specifically for regular novels. And then when they looked at the comic book sales, that's also been on an upward trend towards physical. So it's really interesting how what you expect to happen, in fact, goes in the complete opposite direction. Right.
Because we all got angry. Whoa, 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 whoa.
We did. All of us did.
Every single person. But speaking of books, there's one book in recent history, a series of books, that has exploded and changed the world around us in a very magical sense.
Good word, magical.
Magical.
What a transition.
Right? I'm the queen of transitions.
The emperor of transitions, actually. Thank you.
Yes, Emperor Palpa transitions. But that is the Harry Potter series.
Yes, and as part of her annual tradition, Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling has taken to Twitter this year to apologize for killing Snape.
About damn time.
So May 2nd marked the Battle of Hogwarts, in which many, many wizards and witches were killed by J.K. Rowling.
But none so important as Severus Snape.
That was the biggest loss that we had at Hogwarts. And in a tweet, at JK_Rowling said, quote, "Okay, here it is. Please don't start flame wars over it. But this year, I'd like to apologize for killing," and then in parentheses, she has whispers, "Snape. Run for cover."
She better run, because we all loved Snape. I still love Snape.
And it did start a flame war. People still started arguing with each other. Why is she apologizing for killing Snape? It would have been worse if he lived. And other people are saying, are you crazy? It would have been way better if he lived, because then him and Harry could have had this whole thing. And I'm just like, the fact that they killed him is probably good right now, because this conversation is happening and people fucking cried in the book when they were reading the book, and then when they saw it in theaters as portrayed by Mr. fucking Alan Rickman. Holy crap, what a character. The best character from that series for many, many people.
I've said it several times before. I went into that movie not knowing anything about Harry Potter. I had seen the first one a bajillion years ago, and then we started dating, and you said, oh, we're going to this movie. I'm like, fucking whatever, you're paying for the movie, fine, free popcorn. And I was a sobby mess. And then we went to see it a second time, and the WB logo came up, and you hear, do, 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 and I was a sobby mess. I was done.
Well, it doesn't help that the opening scene is Snape looking over the Hogwarts grounds. It's his fucking story. The series, just like Sinestro with Green Lantern and Jeff Johns, like it's Sinestro's story. I view this as Snape's story because the stuff that he had to go through was a greater punishment than any of the other characters, including Harry, as far as all the hoops they had to jump through. Because it wasn't like, yeah, Dumbledore had this guy that he was in love with, but the relationship between Snape and Lily was much deeper and tougher to read through, especially when you know that he never really ends up happy.
Never once in his life. And wouldn't he and Lily have ended up together if...
That's what J.K. Rowling said.
He hadn't joined Voldemort?
Yes, she said if he had never gone to the dark arts and joined Voldemort, then Lily would have fallen for Snape. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You can't just fucking say that shit. You gotta do what's her face, Twilight did, and write like an alternate future in which this would have happened. So, yeah, we want to read that story where...
When did she write that?
Where it was going to be during the other guy's point of view or whatever the fuck.
Yes.
I don't read Twilight.
Yes.
But write just a little scene of Snape and Lily interacting, that happy ending.
The whole thing. Just a what if. What if Snape and Lily? That's what I want.
Now, you remember I showed you there's new images, new illustrations updated for the Harry Potter books. I believe it's for the digital editions of the books. Mm-hmm. And they revealed what Snape looks like. And I showed it to you. And Snape fans are fucking angry. They're so angry. This Snape is like this beady-eyed, giant nose, really greasy hair. He kind of looked like Brad Dourif's character in Lord of the Rings, who's whispering to the king the whole time.
Oh.
Kind of looked like that, but like even paler somehow. And he's like smiling, and it just looks awful. And
you mean like J.K. Rowling described him
in the goddamn comic or in the book? Yes, exactly. And I remember I showed you, and you're like, "That's not what he looks like." And I'm like, "No, that's actually what they describe him as in the book. Very ugly.
Okay,
he's got greasy hair.
But see, he pulls like a Vegeta, where he gets more handsome from
or a Sinestro.
the first appearance till the end."
But that's not even the books. It's not like the book said, and then Snape got way handsomer in this book. His hair got fluffy like Alan Rickman's, no more grease.
And then Snape started showering and caring about his personal hygiene.
And I know we showed him with a goatee in the early books, but now he's clean shaven. Then none of that happened, and he still should have looked the same.
No.
But in the movies...
He fell in love with Hermione.
In the movies... Alan Rickman in the first movie, like, he doesn't have the goatee, he doesn't have the facial hair, fine, and his hair is greasy, like in the books. He's got the giant nose, and he's not a nice person. But then you compare first Alan Rickman Snape to, like, book 7, Alan Rickman Snape, and it's like, when did he get conditioner? Who's doing his hair? Why does he have makeup on?
You let him do what he wants. He was so dreamy. I love, and I've told this story many times, when they do the Harry Potter marathons and it's on TV in the break room and Snape is on and I walk in and I just go, ugh, he's so dreamy. And everybody looks at me like, oh, what the fuck are you talking about? And I just walk out. That's all that I say.
Do you think it's better that they made him better looking throughout the movies? Does that help at all?
Yes.
I mean, isn't the whole idea that it's not that he's handsome, that's not why Lily likes him, and that's not why we like him, it's because of the actions that he goes through. It's because we know the backstory.
I get that, but him being handsome helps, too. It draws in more people.
What about Sinestro? There's no reason for him to like get a smaller forehead over the years or get a nicer pencil stash.
He needed to be more handsome too. See, that's the thing is, as these people become more popular, they get more handsome. Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender. He was that weird, bald, shaved kid with the little rat tail thingy on his head. And then by the end, he had this nice hair. Kind of lessened his scar a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good message. If
Handsome.
you're a good person, you can also get better looking.
Yeah. The better you are to people, the better looking.
The more
you get.
popular you are with fans. I'll just cut out that fans part. The more popular you are, the better looking you will become.
Yes, like
Is that
I
the
said,
message?
Vegeta, Krillin got less good looking. Yamcha got way less good looking.
I just don't know whose idea it was to be like, okay, Alan, you're not going to wear that wig anymore. We're going to put this one on you. And he's like, okay, that is fine.
Because girls started, like, fangirling about him on Twitter, and they're like, oh, we better make him a little bit hotter.
Will they keep watching these movies if we make him more attractive?
Pretty much.
And that could have easily backfired, where they could have been like, no, we like him the way he is, but they caught it right at that moment where people were noticing, and then changing it, just like Sinestro, and just like Zuko, and every other fucking character that changes. Vegeta, who got taller, got a smaller forehead, longer hair, slightly longer arms, and it got a completely different voice.
Didn't he look like a 5-year-old? Like, we were looking at something, and he was a 5-year-old?
He's tiny. He's shorter than Wolverine. Maybe. Yeah, if you count the hair, he's taller than Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine's real handsome in the movies and tall.
That's another one that they made him fucking tall.
That's fine.
And now in the comics, he's a little bit taller now. He's no longer like hunched over and shit.
Good. Perfect. It's what we need in our life, Dan. Clearly you don't know how fan fiction and teenage girls work.
He had his own solo movie recently, didn't he? Wolverine? Logan?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Logan's returning to theaters with our next news story.
I thought you really forgot. Like, what are you even talking about?
Logan director, everything I say is for a reason, Palpa Kelly.
Okay.
Logan director James Mangold confirmed last week that the film will be getting a theatrical black and white cut of the film in the U.S. starting on May 16th.
So they're making it like an old-timey Western.
Exactly right. This version will also be available on home video.
Logan has made $605 million at the global box office since its release in March.
Go for it. Re-release it in black and white. And one thing that people brought up was, why wouldn't people just have it at home and turn down the settings to black and white, no color, saturation all the way down, which people like our age and older are like, yeah, you could do that, and you can do that with any movie.
But I'm sitting here thinking, but now you're going to fuck up my color settings. Every time we get a TV, true, and you can't say you don't do this, every time we get a TV, you go through all the little settings, and you turn up this setting, and you turn down that setting, and you change this setting, and then you go, damn it, they didn't save, and then you pull it back up again, and you do this button, and then you're online, what are the best settings for this particular TV, and people are telling you what to do.
I'm like the cable guy. I don't know if you remember that scene where he's changing all of the settings, but he's got them memorized. Mm-hmm. So he immediately gets it all right, and then the cable's in there. But the studio actually came out and they said, well, we're also adding like a grainier look to it, and we're changing the contrast as well. Stuff you can't do at home, everyone.
Yes, things you can't do at home.
It was such a, like, the general consumer won't notice the difference, trust me. But I know them as studios, they probably did make changes so that it looked a little bit better in certain scenes.
See, you know what I would say if I was the studio? I'd say, who wants to fuck up your settings?
And that's why you're not the PR person.
Nope.
Are we going to see it again in black and white? I'm leaning towards no.
No, I did enjoy the movie. I did cry a lot in that movie. I hate to think how much I would be crying now in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe if it comes on to Netflix.
Even then, they won't have the other version, I'm sure. So, I mean, whatever. If we see it, fine. If we don't, cool. I'm okay with not seeing Logan ever again in my life. I saw it once. I thought it was great. It was fine. It was okay. It's fine. Like, we don't have to see it. It's not like BVS or Suicide Squad where we have to own it. And I'm glad a lot of people enjoyed it. And I'm sure it's got like a different Western feel, or maybe it gets you immersed into it more if it's in black and white.
Can they play like down 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 down
or wah wah wah?
Yes, please. There needs to be a tumbleweed. Can I tell you that fun facts about Kelli? I am deathly afraid of tumbleweeds.
Why are you afraid of tumbleweeds? Holy shit.
I'm scared of tumbleweeds. Because I associate tumbleweeds. One of my fears is being stranded in the desert. Don't ask. I don't know.
Okay.
I've been to the desert once in my life, and it was like I was in the safety of a car. We were just driving through the desert, and it was literally for like half an hour. But I associate tumbleweeds with being stranded in the desert, which for my ginger skin means lots of sunburn and dehydration and slowly dying and just death. I don't know. Maybe
It's
in a
like
past
instant
life,
cancer.
maybe in a past life, I died in the desert and there was a tumbleweed rolling past me as I died.
And that was the last thing you saw.
But I'm scared of tumbleweeds. The more you
And now
know about Kelli.
yeah. I thought they were like, one ran into you and there was a nest of spiders in it or something
No.
weird like that.
I just associate it with dying in the desert.
Are there tumbleweeds here in Florida?
No.
Okay, because
There's
I
not.
don't know if that was a thing here. There's none in Illinois, so I just wanted to make sure.
I have seen one. I did see one tumbleweed that one time that I went to the desert for that 30 minutes.
That was not in Florida,
We
right?
got, no, that was out in Colorado somewhere. And we got out at like a Native American flea market or something. And we got out and looked and there was a tumbleweed like way far away. I'm like, we're done. We gotta go. we gotta get to the hotel. We gotta get to safety with water.
So as we mentioned earlier, this was a slower news week. But because of that, we have the Breisner Awards 2017. We'll explain more about that for anyone that has joined us within the last year.
Is there a Breisner theme song?
I've got a theme song going.
All right.
But first, our Patreon shoutouts of the week.
This week, our shoutouts go to Alexander, whose Twitter handle is @SwordfishShow, and Lourdes and Katie.
Check out Alex's latest Let's Plays. He just put one up for Planet Base, which is exactly right up my alley. It's a management game where you go out into another planet and you settle your colony, but you have to be sure you settle the oxygen portion of it. You got to set up power. You got to set up the wind turbines in case you go to a planet that doesn't have a lot of sunlight. You have to get the solar panels up, and then you have to get food in there. So it's a lot of like management type of things, kind of like Civilization or maybe Zoo Tycoon. I don't know, but it's a very fun looking game.
Nerd.
I love that kind of shit. I love just like, especially when you have the perfect civilization, like I did in Civ, where it's just like, we started 0 wars with everyone. I put all of my resources into science. I have the most advanced technology in the world. Nations keep attacking me because they want my profits, or they want my great scientists, they want my writers, they want my technology, because I refuse to trade with any of them too. Like, I'm just like, I'll do my thing, you do your thing. And then eventually when I have like nukes and when I have like airplanes and tanks and all these other nations still don't have that, and that one nation has been attacking me since I was just a tribe, then I'm like, here's this nuke on your largest city that you have. I am now going to wage war for the first time in Earth's history on your ass with my advanced technology and completely take over your nation. That's what I do, because I'm like, I don't forget. I'm like, you fucking assholes, you've been attacking me and I've been defending quite well with my advanced technology and I haven't attacked you, but this shit is on now. And once I completely claim this nation and there's no more of them left and they're my cities now, that is an example to the rest of the nations in the world, like, holy fuck, man, that guy, he never attacks nations. He's fucking crazy. For 3,000 years, he's just been developing science and defending his cities, and now he's just completely wiped them off the map. Anyone else want to trade? Anyone else want to take over my cities and fucking... No, we're good. We're fine. We're okay learning the alphabet in 2036. We're completely all right.
Well, while you were playing those nerd games, I played The Sims, where I put 2 people in a house and I just go kiss, talk, kiss, talk, kiss, talk. Good, I don't have to buy another bed because you're in love now.
That's awesome, man. I know Lourdes and Katie especially really enjoyed the Judas Contract that recently came out. She's a huge Deathstroke fan, and it is definitely a good time to be a fan of Slade Wilson.
Creepy old man sleeping with 15-year-olds.
Not the movie one. Not the movie Deathstroke.
You're right.
So if you too want your Patreon shout out every single month, head on over to patreon.com/TheReasonsImBroke for as little as $1 a month. If you think you're getting $1's worth of entertainment every single week with the podcast, and you want to donate $1 a month to the show, head on over once again to patreon.com/TheReasonsImBroke and get the show early. As soon as I'm done editing the podcast and uploading it, you get the link that will update your podcast player with the latest episode before Sunday's release.
But of course, guys, our podcast will always be free. The best thing you can do is let other people know about us. Leave us a review on iTunes, on whatever form you choose to listen to our podcast through. That helps other people find us.
And definitely let your friends know as well. I know it's an explicit podcast, but if you know that they're into DC Comics or Batman, or they want the latest in the news for comics and movies, TV, video games, more, let them know about the podcast. Point them over to TheReasonsImBroke.com. We also want to thank DecalAvenue.com for the help at the $5 reward tier.
You should start marketing this as a pregnancy podcast because we talk about the growth of our child.
That's true. Can I throw in pregnancy in the hashtags when I throw this up on iTunes?
Hashtag pregos.
That would get in a whole different crowd of listeners that would be like, what the hell? This has nothing to do with raising a baby.
They turn it on and in their mind they hear, whoa, welcome to the reasons I'm fucking broke.
Who are these colorful personalities? It's like the first podcast they've ever listened to. Yeah. People don't talk like that.
I like how you're saying that moms talk like that. Were you not in Target with those two moms the other day? Did you not hear them?
You do the impression, because it'd be sexist if I did it.
They were standing around. One woman had, like, her 3-month-old thrown over her shoulder, going, I'm gonna buy this fucking wine.
Is that what they say?
Yes.
So that's what they sound like. All right.
That's what they were doing. They were just talking about wine, and one of them standing in the middle of the aisle going, and I said, nuh-uh, bitch, I'm out of here.
I thought you were talking about the ones at the bakery the other day who were like, I mean, I want a sandwich, but I don't really want tomato. Can they make it without tomato? I've never been here. I don't know if they allow custom. Oh my God, that sounds really good. That pastry sounds great. Although I really shouldn't. Like I shouldn't do it, right? No, I don't think I should. And but they got louder as they went on about their fucking. They were expressing in words what they were thinking, like one-on-one. Most of us think it, we make a decision, and then we'll put out a thought.
No,
but these two
men think it, they make a decision, and they put out.
You said it, not me. But these women were they were expressing their thoughts as they were thinking it, but into their mouths as quickly as they were thinking. Like, it was incredible. It is a talent. I don't know if you can do that, but they were doing it back and forth and holding a conversation.
I can, just out of kindness for you. I don't, because I think you would go a little crazy.
Also, we do want to remind everyone that we will be at MegaCon 2017 this month. Mm-hmm. If you are in the Central Florida area, we are going to be at MegaCon Thursday and Friday. And if you are going to this convention, be sure to stop by the Blue Juice Comics booth. They have been friends of ours for many years. We were working their booth last year. We will definitely stop by the Blue Juice Comics booth. But if you do go there, you can pick up the Anne Bonny trade paperback by Mr. Tim Yates, who we just had on the podcast. You can pick up Ether and Empire, and of course the Accelerators. They have the single issues, and they have the trade paperbacks. And on the back of the Volume 1 to Anne Bonny, you may find a recommendation from your fellow podcast hosts. So if you want to own that, you can pick up the first trade paperback.
We will sign it for you.
Yeah, of course. If you find us at MegaCon, we will absolutely do that. At the Blue Juice Comics booth, once again, MegaCon 2017, Blue Juice Comics. As we get closer, we will give you their booth number, so we'll do all of the work for you, so you can just head straight to the booth.
Do they have to find us like a Where's Waldo game in MegaCon?
I think it'd be fun. I think one of these years we should have like some kind of giveaway if they find us at the convention.
That'd be cool. I'm down with it.
I would say tote bags, but I don't think anyone's down for the idea. No? I didn't get any feedback at all for the tote bags, so it might be something no one wants until they start having to pay for plastic bags. Then they'll start saying, yeah, tote bags, for sure.
Yeah, throw them our way.
So a little background on the Breisner Awards. Every year, this other awards show called the Eisners come out with nominations, and usually the wrong winners. So what we've decided to do is we do the Breisner Awards, where we give the listeners and everyone out there the correct choices on who the winners should be for what is arguably a better award show, and that is the Breisner Awards. And we did it last year. We congratulated the winners through Twitter. They had their little graphic with their work, with the little Breisner Award logo and everything. So we're going to do that again this year, but there's a little bit of an upgrade that we will give you at the very end after we announce the winners. Now, we were thinking of doing the winners next week, but then we would have to reread the nominations again, so it would be like it'd be doing the exact same thing twice, but with the winners this time. So today, you get the nominees and you get the winners. Here's the theme song that I was telling you about for the Breisner Awards 2017.
I'm kind of sad you have a theme song because I wanted to do a theme song.
Well, let's do the Kelli version, the abridged version of the theme song. You wanted to do a theme song? Now's your chance.
Do, 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 do. I don't know why it's the Olympics. do, 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 do. do, 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 do. Yes. I think you should have me do theme songs for everything. I'm so good at them.
So for this year's Breisner Awards, we've got 6 categories, everyone. 6 categories with the for sure winners to each one. First category is Best Short Story.
And your nominees are The Comics Wedding of the Century by Simon Hazelman in We Told You So, Comics as Art from Fantagraphics.
Next nominee is The Dark Nothing by Jordan Crane in Uptight Number 5, also by Fantagraphics.
Next nominee is Good Boy by Tom King and David Finch in Batman Annual Number 1 from DC.
Fourth nomination is Monday by W. Maxwell Prince and John Amor in 1 Week in the Library from Image Comics.
And your final nominee for Best Short Story is Mostly Saturn by Michael DeForge in Island Magazine Number 8 from Image Comics.
And that is the second nominee for Image Comics in the 2017 Breisner Awards.
Let's see which one performs the triple axel.
And the winner for Best Short Story for the Breisner Awards 2017 is
Good Boy by Tom King and David Finch from Batman Annual Number 1.
Congratulations, Tom King, David Finch, and DC Comics for winning Best Short Story. I believe it's the first time DC Comics wins Best Short Story in the Breisner Awards as established in 2016. So that was a great story, The Good Boy. This is the one in which Alfred Pennyworth raises I guess it's Titus, right? Raises Titus, or it might be Ace. It was Ace, because it had the Joker symbols on all of the different dogs, and the Ace ended up being the top dog that killed all of the other dogs, which were a Joker and a King. And Alfred ended up raising Ace so that it was a tamed animal, a tamed dog, and this was supposed to be a gift for Bruce Wayne from Alfred. And instead, it goes unnoticed from Bruce, and Alfred says, well, it's just you and I, essentially. But Ace ended up being that companion for Bruce, and it was basically the origin story for Ace the Bat Hound.
And fun fact, that is who our dog is named after, even though she is a little Chihuahua and not a Doberman.
That's true. Or it's actually a Great Dane, I think. Maybe that's Titus. I can't remember.
I thought Titus was the Great Dane.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think Ace is a Doberman, and our Ace is a Chihuahua Yorkie. Real close, real similar.
So next category is Best Continuing Series.
Your nominees are Astro City by Kurt Busiek and Brent Anderson from Vertigo and DC.
Another nominee is The Mighty Thor by Jason Aaron and Russell Dauterman from Marvel Comics.
Next, we have Paper Girls by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang from Image.
And another nomination for another Brian K. Vaughan work, and that is for Saga and also artist Fiona Staples, again, Image Comics.
And the winner is...
No surprise here, Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, Image Comics, mainly picked by Kelli, I would assume.
You like that book too, calm down.
Mighty Thor is good too.
No.
Mighty Thor is a close second.
No.
In Best Continuing Series.
Mighty Thor is losing my interest. They're going off on crazy things.
And Saga's still solid.
Yeah.
Saga's still Saga.
There you go.
How about that?
Saga is still solid.
I don't think there will be a year, as long as that book continues, that it won't win at least one Breisner Award.
There will be years when it's over that it will continue to win Breisners. And the best story of the year is, still Saga. They re-released a trade paperback.
So first Breisner Award for Image Comics for this year's Breisner Awards.
I feel like Saga won the same category last year as well.
I'm pretty sure it was Batman. I can't recall. But Saga definitely won several awards last year, too. So congratulations to Saga. Make more room for your Breisner Awards on that digital shelf.
Our next category is Best Reality-Based Work.
And your nominees are Dark Knight, a true Batman story by Paul Dini and Eduardo Risso, and that's from Vertigo and DC Comics.
Next, we have Glenn Gould, A Life Off Tempo by Sandrine Revel from NBM.
Next nominee is March Book 3 by John Lewis, Andrew Aiden, and Nate Powell from Top Shelf Comics.
We also have Rosaline Lightning, a graphic memoir by Tom Hart from St. Martin's.
And final nominee for Best Reality-Based Work is Tetris, The Games People Play by Box Brown. The publisher is First Second.
And your winner is Dark Knight, a true Batman story by Paul Dini and Eduardo Risso.
The writer that came straight out of Batman the Animated Series, that has written work that we have enjoyed throughout the years, that is currently on the Harley Quinn ongoing series as he does the backup story for the book, and that is Dark Knight, a true Batman story. Huge, huge book. It is an enormous talent by both Paul Dini and Eduardo Risso. And this is the adaptation of the real-life story where Paul Dini was beat up to the point where he had to go to the hospital. His bones in his face were broken. They had to do reconstructive surgery for a good portion of his face. And this is basically him debating whether he wants to go on anymore with life, with his work, with his hobbies. And it is Joker symbolically telling him, relax, man, have another drink. You don't have to go out today either. It's a scary world out there. Why go out there? And throughout the whole book, it is Batman whispering in his ear and telling him, get up, go to work. It's too easy to just give up.
From everything you've told me from the book, it sounds absolutely phenomenal. No reason that it wouldn't be the Breisner winner for this year. And again, kudos to Paul Dini for not only taking time to write this book, but for having the courage to relive those moments to bring hope to other people.
Next category is Best Writer. And the first nominee is Ed Brubaker for Criminal, the 10th Anniversary Special. He's also written Kill or Be Killed and Velvet, all from Image Comics.
We also have Kurt Busiek, who did Astro City from Vertigo and DC Comics.
Next nominee is Chelsea Kane, who worked on Mockingbird for Marvel Comics.
We also have Max Landis, who did Green Valley. This came from Image and Skybound.
He also did Superman American Alien for DC Comics this year. Next nominee for Best Writer is Jeff Lemire, who did Black Hammer last year from Dark Horse Comics, Descender and Plutona from Image Comics, and Bloodshot Reborn from Valiant.
And finally, we have Brian K. Vaughan, who's worked on Paper Girls, Saga, and We Stand on Guard, all from Image Comics.
And the winner for Best Writer for the 2017 Breisner Awards is
Brian K. Vaughan.
For Saga. For Paper Girls, for We Stand on Guard, but mainly for Saga. That is the second Breisner Award for Image Comics, and another one for Brian K. Vaughan, who won last year as well. Second year in a row, consecutive year winner for the Breisner Awards. Congratulations, Brian K. Vaughan and Image Comics.
Keep it up, Brian.
2 categories left for this year's Breisner Awards. Next, we have Best Penciler/Inker.
First up, we have Mark Brooks for Han Solo, published by Marvel.
Next nominee is Dan Mora for Klaus on Boom Studios' publishing company.
Is that Klaus Nomi?
I wish. They need to make that book.
Because then the boom would go, because lightning striking again. Okay. We also have Greg Ruth, who did Inde from Grand Central Publishing.
Next is Francois Schwitten, who did The Theory of the Grain of Sand from IDW.
What a name, Francois Schwitten. Next is Fiona Staples, who does Saga in Image.
And final nominee for Best Penciler/Inker is Brian Stelfreeze, who did Black Panther for Marvel Comics. So that's 2 nominations for Marvel on this category.
And your Breisner Award winner is...
Fiona Staples for Saga and Image Comics. The 3rd win for Saga. 3rd win for Image Comics on the Breisner Awards. That's 3 winners. 3 indie publishers, all dominated by one fucking publisher, by one winner. It's the Saga Awards. That's what this is. Is that the trifecta that you were talking about?
Yes. Saga is amazing. Saga deserves to win all forever.
What can you say about Fiona Staples and her artwork in Saga?
It's beautiful. Fiona Staples is what helps create that book and make it so striking. So I've heard previously that Brian K. Vaughan doesn't describe these characters. He creates characters, sends the script to Fiona, and she's the one who's actually developing these aliens.
That's awesome.
In her head, drawing these. Granted, this is what I've heard, but she, and that's part of what makes these, I mean, a mix between her unique designs and Brian's amazing characters are what makes you remember these so well. Like the 2 gay reporters, I bring them up all the time. They were in one book for like 2 pages, and 5 months later when they showed back up, I was like, I remember these guys. I haven't read that first issue in years. And I still remember Sex Planet and the weird lady with the weird sun head.
Yep.
Did you forget her?
Nope.
No. With her boobs everywhere. And we have the Will back when he was skinny and his weirdo girlfriend. Like, you remember these characters so well. And it's because of the way these 2 work together. And for Fiona, not only to be able to create those, but draw them and make them look so stunning as well. Great on you, Fiona. Final
category for the 2017 Breisner Awards, and this is Best Coloring.
First up, we have Jean-Francois Beaulieu, who does Green Valley, brought to you by Image and Skybound.
Next colorist is Elizabeth Breitweiser, who did the Criminal 10th Anniversary Special, Kill or Be Killed, and Velvet, also by Image Comics.
We also have Sunny Liu, who did the art of Charlie Chan Hawkchai from Pantheon.
Another nominee is Laura Martin, who did Wonder Woman for DC Comics, Ragnarok for IDW, and Black Panther for Marvel Comics.
And lastly, we have Matt Wilson, who did Cry Havoc, Paper Girls, The Wicked and the Divine, all by Image. We also have Black Widow, The Mighty Thor, and Star-Lord from Marvel.
And the winner of the Breisner Award for Best Colorist, Best Coloring, goes to...
Matt Wilson.
Specifically for The Mighty Thor. Beautiful fucking comic book. You take a book and you put it in outer space and you play with colors the way he does. Holy shit, man. Like, right next to Laura Allred, those 2 are hand in hand, the best colorists on the Marvel side. And Matt Wilson, great job also on Paper Girls to complement the artwork by Cliff Chang. It is absolutely incredible. And congratulations to Matt Wilson for winning the Breisner Award for Best Coloring for The Mighty Thor. Excellent comic.
This is his first Breisner Award?
Correct. First Breisner Award for Matt Wilson, and also for Marvel Comics for the 2017 Breisner Awards. So the domination went to Image Comics.
The domination went to Saga.
Yeah, more specifically, yeah. We didn't give any Walking Dead awards or anything like that. 1 to DC Comics, 1 Breisner Award to Marvel, and 3 to fucking Image, to Saga, I'm sorry, to Saga specifically.
Yes.
But yes, these are the winners. These are the ones that need to win, that already have won, and we'll just see if the Eisners get it right.
That won the most important of the awards.
They have the answers. I mean, the work is, once again, done for them. They just
have to read them. Unless somebody gives them the wrong envelope and it's the Oscars all over again.
Yeah, or the beauty pageant that they did like a year or 2 ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. It's going to be that
what's
again.
What's his name?
The guy from Family Feud.
Yeah. I love that they brought him back the next year, too, because they're like, oh, shit, we got some ratings.
Hell yeah, man. You fucking bring him back. Why not? So we did want to talk about the contest that we're going to be doing to coincide with the Breisner Awards 2017. So based on the winners of this year's Breisner Awards, we are going to be doing some giveaways for our Patreon backers. These giveaways include Dark Knight from Paul Dini, who they did win this year based on the best reality-based work, and another trade paperback for Matt Wilson's The Mighty Thor Volume 1 from the current run. So you get the standalone story from Paul Dini, and then you get the first story to this awesome run by Matt Wilson for The Mighty Thor. So you can jump in and you can pick up Volume 2 if you'd like. But the only way to win these two trade paperbacks is if you are a backer on Patreon. Now, if you're listening to this and you're saying, well, what the hell? I'm not a backer on Patreon. We're going to choose a winner the first episode of June. So even if you heard this episode late, I know not everyone listens to the show right away, you still have time to back us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. So there is no minimum to enter the contest. If you're donating $1 a month or you're donating more than $20 a month, you are entered in to win the contest for the Breisner Awards 2017.
These are some great prizes too, guys. You definitely need to jump on board, become a Patreon backer, help us out with our diaper bills.
And it's gonna, each one of these copies for Dark Knight and Mighty Thor Volume 1 is going to come with an exclusive Breisner Awards 2017 winner sticker right on the cover. The only way to get these stickers is to win the contest. And to be a Patreon backer is the only way you can enter the 2017 Breisner Award giveaway.
Do we have extra Brosker stickers?
I still have Brosker stickers.
Can we stick that on the cover too?
No, we won't have the Brosker stickers. It'll be next year when we do another round of them. But yes, this year we are doing some giveaways. So once again, Dark Knight by Paul Dini, Volume 1, Mighty Thor, Volume 1, patreon.com/TheReasonsImBroke. Winners announced the first episode of June.
And with that, we are going to move into our comic book highlight of the week.
This week we've got a brand new number 1 with Batman the Shadow number 1 of 6.
This is written by Scott Snyder and Steve Orlando with art by Riley Rossmo, and the colorist is Ivan Placencia.
Riley Rossmo recently did the Night of the Monster Men, that crossover between Nightwing, Batman, and I believe Detective Comics. And he did an incredible job doing the monsters mixed in with the Batman universe. And he's returned for this crossover between DC and Dynamite. And it is an absolutely gorgeous looking book. Mm-hmm. That being said, we have never read a The Shadow comic book or a graphic novel. So this is also along with Batman, our very first crossover and exposure to the character of the Shadow. It is about the murder of what they set up to be this amazing older gentleman who is about to go on dates with this girl. They're just knocking down his door to go out on dates with him because he's such a great guy. He adopted this little dachshund who fosters him, who can't walk. He's on the little wheels because he can't walk with his 2 little feet. So he's got this little dog that's warning him about this villain that has shown up in his apartment. And he's also doing a great job at Arkham Asylum. All of the villains and inmates love him because he takes care of them. And you're like, yeah, he's going to fucking die.
Of course.
And that's the murder. And so you're rooting for Batman and the Shadow to figure out who murdered this man.
We might have interpreted this differently because to me it looked like the Shadow killed this guy.
It's possible. I interpreted it as maybe the Shadow was set up to look like the murderer in Batman's eyes. And because every time there's a crossover and eventual team up, they have to fight first. They have to fight initially. And Batman wins because it's fucking Batman. But then you have this extra bit of information that tells you that in Batman's origin, in this particular continuity, the Shadow was involved in the teachings from Henry Descartes. So it goes way back before Batman was even born.
It was definitely an interesting book. Having known nothing about the Shadow previously, I was kind of like, what's going on? There's a little more magic than there should be. Which I shouldn't be surprised at anymore, because Batman deals with magic all the time, and every time it happens, I'm like, this isn't real.
And that's what Batman says, too. He's like, no, I'll figure it out.
Even though he's seen Constantine and Zatanna and all their stuff, and
Yeah, it's Batman, and he's got to figure it out. Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's a solid crossover. If you're a fan of The Shadow, definitely pick this up 100%, I would say. If you're just like us and you're like, well, I don't really know much about The Shadow, but I like Batman, Batman is well handled in this. Mm-hmm. The artwork alone is worth the purchase, and it's only 6 issues. So yes, I say jump on to Batman Shadow number 1.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
So that was our comic book highlight for the week and the rest of the episode for the Reasons I'm Broke podcast. Number 242 is under wraps. We want to thank all of you for joining us this week. We want to thank you for the Breisner Awards and for the interactions that we had with this week's hashtag games and for the questions that we had too.
Of course, you guys can always hit us up on Twitter at ReasonsImBroke, at Kelli. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Ask us more questions. Participate in those hashtag games. Like we said earlier, only 2 of you said you wanted to know the gender of our child. So if more of you change your mind, let us know.
Same with the tote bags. If you want to see tote bags on TheReasonsImBroke.com, definitely let us know as well. And then we can order the minimum order of 100 tote bags to put up on the website, some of which we'll use. And don't forget to check out our friends at MegaCon for Blue Juice Comics, your local comic book shop for free comic book day. Whatever your haul was, take a picture of it and send it over to us and we'll retweet it.
I also want to thank all of you who said that Daniel should run in Wine and Dine 2018. I feel that he should also.
Got so many we got more responses for that than wanting to know the gender of our child or the tote bags. Like, holy shit.
So if you guys think that Daniel should run 13.1 miles with me, hit us up on Twitter at RunDanRun. Hashtag RunDanRun. I'm still learning the Twitter things.
I thought it was like hashtag Dan Yes Wine and Dine or something.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I'm adding more.
So what is it this
hashtag
week?
Hashtag RunDanRun or hashtag Wine and Dine Yes or hashtag Daniel 13.1.
Jesus. Well, you can't do points in the hashtag, so 13.1.
13.1.
Whatever, guys. If you want the podcast to end, if you want to see, because I won't live through it, and that'd be the end of the podcast. You're not continuing the show.
You would live.
I would not live through it. There are easier ways to tell us that you want the podcast to end, and it's me running 13.1 miles is not the way.
You could do it. I believe in you.
As I've told you and Neil, I'm simply too old for it. I can't be training to run 13 miles.
Have you not seen the 80-year-old men who run these things?
Have you not seen how short my legs are? I'm not made for running.
You know how you train to run? You stand on a cliff with rain,
sand,
and
lightning,
and just stare at it like Vegeta. And I mean, here he is.
That's how you train, apparently. if Dragon Ball Super taught us anything,
like they said, it'll get you out of changing poopy diapers. Just be like, oh, gotta go for a run.
Not a bad idea. Neil is a genius. If you will let me do that, absolutely. If I can run instead of change diapers, I will run a mile instead of change a diaper.
If you will run 13.1 miles with me, then yes, you can run instead of changing diapers.
Jesus. Thank you so much for tuning in again. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelli.
We'll see you next week.